I need you to listen to what I'm saying and pay less attention to the optics of the video. This is not the point of this video. I probably could have just, uploaded an audio stream and let y'all listen to that. You know, but again, as you can see from the title, this is what I'm here to talk about: is the fact that conservatives and Democrats are not the same. Unfortunately, too often in our world, um, you know, people oversimplify so many things, and politics is one of those areas that has absolutely been oversimplified. You know, um, they may be two wings of the same plane. I'll give you that, but they are two separate wings. And while, I mean, again, people who know me know that as far as politics go, I've never really fully agreed with either party. There is stuff that conservatives believe in, or at least say they believe in, that I agree with. There are things that liberals believe in, push, and promote that I don't agree with. And I wish more people felt like me about these things. But a lot of people are simply what I like to call fans. They're fanatical. And if you think about a fan will overlook the flaws of their team, of their general management, of the owners, of players on their franchise. A fan will overlook all of those important things because all that matters to that fan, that fanatical person, is their team and winning. And it doesn't really matter how they get it done. It doesn't matter who they trade away. It doesn't matter if the players on their team are any good. If they're on their team, they're hyping them. They're talking them up because it's about the team first. And it's not about the sport. It's not about the quality of the sport. It's not even about whether or not the team is being run correctly, whether or not we have good players or not, good management. That doesn't matter to a fan, to a fanatic. Now there may be some fans who care about the quality, but they tend to be outnumbered. And that's sort of what I see in politics. I see a lot of people who are fanatical with it. They're unable to criticize their side, their team. Anything their team does goes. And it should be clear, it's not, but it should be clear that we're dealing with two different types of people. When we're talking about conservatives and liberals, again, I'm not here to say that one is necessarily better than the other, but I am here to say that they are not the same. Stop making that mistake. If you find yourself around people who are spreading that narrative, take a moment to explain that they are not the same. Now, specifically when it comes to black people, the reality of the situation is that one political party seemingly has a lot more disdain for us than the other. And I think that's where we get caught up in the oversimplification is we get to talking about how liberals really haven't done anything for black people. That some of the social programs that they've created harm black people more than help black people. That they're about handouts rather than hand ups, whatever type of BS narrative that is. But again, what is constantly overlooked is how many conservatives get corporate handouts. It seems like it's okay to help millionaires and billionaires. It's okay to provide farmers with subsidies and land grants and all these things that benefit mostly white Americans. But we get upset at liberals for creating social programs that help the downtrodden. We say that that harms them more than helps them. And unfortunately, these little arguments become what people hinge on and hang on and give the most energy to. And really, truthfully, that's not the issue with liberals. You know, truthfully, black people need help. I mean, look, these social programs, you can call them handouts if you want to, but again, as long as America is giving handouts to millionaires and to billionaires, bailing out banks, helping farmers, as long as America is doing that for whites, black people should get something too. And that more of us don't think that way is an issue. That's a problem. It's a problem. Because it's how ingrained hate for black people is in America. Even black people will get on their podiums and talk about how welfare is harming more than helping. Because America never want black people to have anything. Even some welfare, which ain't much of nothing compared to the farmers and the bankers and the people with businesses, which again, okay, more black people should start businesses, but we're not getting the same assistance with our businesses that whites get with theirs, that Hispanics get with theirs, that Asians get with theirs, that people who consider themselves LGBTQT get with theirs. So again, a lot of us get hung up in these arguments that are not really the full picture. Now, again, they may not all be, doing the most for black people, because here's what I'm finna get. The real problem with liberals is they don't go far enough in dealing with their conservative brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, because these are family members. So they tolerate them. In spite of all the anti-blackness they are pushing around the clock 24/7. And it's gotten to the point where, once again, like before, the racist conservative whites are out of control and their numbers are growing. And so what does that mean? It means that we are once again about to be in a fight for what it means to be America. While all of y'all are focused on silly arguments that have nothing to do with the bigger picture. Here's the bigger picture. Conservative whites tend to be racist, very racist. They hate black people. They want to see an old version of America where blacks are on plantations, are subservient to whites, where whites get all the opportunities, not some or most, all the opportunities. They want that back. Whereas liberals, again, liberals tend to, they want this idea of America where everybody gets a piece of it, but when they say everybody, they really don't mean black people. They mean everybody. And blacks, y'all can just find your way. Y'all can figure it out. Here, back to welfare. We'll give you a little bit of welfare, which again, ain't much of nothing. And meanwhile, while our conservative counterparts are going out their way to gut education, to gut funding, to after-school programs and things that will keep y'all out of trouble, when we're doing nothing about how police are policing and destroying your neighborhoods. That's the issue with liberals. It is not going hard enough in the paint for black people. They go hard in the paint for natives. They go hard in the paint for LGBTQ. They go hard in the paint for every group but black people. They go hard for feminism. They go hard, hard. But they tolerate racism. They tolerate that. When a white police officer murders a black person in America, the majority of white liberals are silent about it. Now, this past year, we saw a little more talking. We saw the June 2nd issue where they were blacking out their social media and all that kind of stuff. That's a good, nice little gesture. But they don't talk about these issues year round, and they don't actually fight for change and reform, and that tends to be the real problem. It's not all this other stuff they talk about. You know, all this other stuff they talk about ain't really the issue with liberals. The issue is they don't fight conservatives hard enough. Conservatives tend to be extremely bad people. You can feel how you want to feel about this. You know, again, I'm a businessman, I have a business channel, but one of the things I realize, especially in the MLM niche, is there are so many racist people in business. But that makes sense. That's what business tends to be about. That's what racism tends to be about. Shout out to the great Dr. Claude Anderson on that, who really broke it down. How racism is more about races collectively sticking together for resources. It's not really about who I like and who I don't like, even though that tends to come out of it, right? How you get the lights on, cuz? Sorry about that. People are so ignorant. Some guy pulls up, he got his lights facing me, and it's like, bro, what are you doing? You know, like turn your lights off at least. But this, you know, again, this is the society that we're in. We have a lot of self-centered people, a lot of people who don't think. And this is why sometimes thoughts like mine bother folks, because I do think and I share ideas and thoughts that everyone don't agree with or never thought about. Specifically, again, all the racism within business. You know, a lot of black people struggle in MLM because, you know, again, when talking to friends and family, a lot of black people don't have exposure to business. You know, a lot of black people have more faith in a job rather than in a business. There are so many reasons that go into that. I'm not going to go into that right here. That's why I built the Black Folder, so you can educate yourself on the Black experience to understand that we've been through so much. You know, it really and truly was to help Black people in business stop getting so discouraged when your friend or your family member don't support your business idea, because you have to understand our people. We've been damaged. We've been harmed. So as a result of that, we don't always, you know, take a business opportunity seriously. We often can't see that work out for us. You know, we don't think about long-term plans. Again, we're in America where our lives often get cut short. So we don't think about planning for the long term and all these things. And again, that's what the Black Folder is for you to educate yourself, to understand, so you don't get frustrated. Meanwhile, we absolutely face racism from non-Black people who don't listen to what we're saying, who won't follow us, who won't join us in a business because we're Black. They may name a bunch of reasons, but those aren't the real reasons. And Trump getting elected proved it. As you saw so many whites in MLM proudly declaring, yeah, we're part of that Make America Great Again crowd. And what does Make America Great Again mean? It means going back to the good old days. The days when it was whites only, when open segregation was legal, when you could lynch a few blacks and not get put in jail for it. This is what they want. Now, how can you be in business with people who feel that way about you? Excuse me. See, so I'm okay with some conservatives feeling some type of way and not wanting to join me in a business because typically y'all didn't want to join me in business anyway. And you might have got with me in a business hoping you could use some of my tools or some of my knowledge to help you succeed, but you was going to cut loose the first opportunity you got because you're a racist some bitch. Just like a brother, I'm going to throw a name out here too, because, you know, if you're watching, Jesus Rojas, what a, right? Look, I met this brother. I recruited him into a MLM company years ago. He had nobody helping him with anything, nobody teaching him the game. I spent hours on the phone with this brother, hours, teaching him game. And when it came down to it, he was in an area where everybody spoke Spanish. So again, I'm a leader. I understand what he needs. He needs somebody from our company that speaks Spanish that can go translate and talk to his people. I find this person for him. I put him in contact with her. I initiate the whole deal so that she can start going up to where he's at, about 2 hours from where we're at. She didn't mind because she wanted to grow her team in that area too. She wasn't in our money, right? But again, she's old school. She understood the deal that if the company wins, she wins too. So she started building her team. She started going up there and helping him build his team. As a result of that, we helped Jesus make his first money in network marketing. Now, I've told y'all about some of the things that went on with that partnership, not me and Jesus, but me and other brothers and whatnot. How they broke away, found some other side company, started stealing people out of our downline, messed up relationships, all that stuff I've talked about on this channel. Jesus was one of those cats who decided to go with the thieves. And you know, unfortunately, it turned into some beef where me and the main cat who stole people, we, you know, had our beef or whatnot. And Jesus called himself taking sides, I guess. He want to side with the dude who ain't did no work for him. And of course, naturally, it's because I'm a lot more pro-black. I'm a lot more outspoken about race and racism, whereas the other brother is borderline sellout. Went to Morehouse and useless like so many Morehouse brothers are. Excuse me, y'all. It's winter time, and you know, even with everything going on, these are just sciences. But thank you if anyone is concerned. These are your normal winter sciences for people with sciences. But like I said, I'm drinking this ruby red. My taste buds are just that's fine. Point is, I hadn't talked to this brother Jesus in years, and I look up the brother on LinkedIn. It was one of them random things. I find his Twitter account, and his header is him wearing a big old "Keep America Great" hat. And that's why I shared that story. You know, number one, it's always odd to see blacks and Latinos align themselves with conservative whites who hate y'all. That's always odd. But it begins to make sense again, like you know, I was saying. I see why he would be so ungrateful, because they don't like black people to begin with. So regardless of the time I put in, regardless of the efforts to help this brother make money, I'm black, and that matters to them. You know, I had a conversation with another person who told me, look, stop telling me that you're black. You're just a human being. And I agree. I am just a human being. And the issue with that conversation is it doesn't matter. I can see myself however I want to see myself. Unfortunately, I live in a society where other people see black, and they judge black based on whatever nonsense they grew up with, whatever's in their environment. They don't see just another human being. They see a black person. They do that with all of us, not just me. So what I'm getting at is there are two really different types of people when we're talking about liberals and conservatives. We are not in the same ballpark in terms of, what we believe in, how we view life, etc., and whatnot. Now, and this is specifically true about politics. So much of the political side of it comes down to racism too. Again, you look at all the issues that conservatives tend to be against. Anything that might help black people, they are against. And unfortunately, it backfires and harms white people, right? Because that's the stupidity of racism and hatred. When you're filled with hate, it's like, as they say, it's like drinking the poison while hoping somebody else dies. That's what hatred is. So it's a very different mindset to be a conservative. It's so negative. And that's what I'm saying. They're a different kind of political party entirely. Whereas, again, I'm not here to say that liberals are the greatest in the world for black people, but what I will say is we have a better chance at a better future supporting liberal policies and ideas. Now, again, they're not perfect at all. There's so much room for improvement, and there's a ton of anti-blackness on their side of the aisle as well. Ton of it. There's a bunch of minority groups who have disdain for black people, but use our struggles to gain more benefits for themselves and for their group. They're very anti-black, but will claim to be treated the way we are in order to get the benefits this nation won't even give us. So these are two different monsters, two different things that we got to deal with. But again, one is extremely anti-black, where they're to the point where they'll get violent in terms of wanting to exterminate and get rid of black people. The other is more of a, we'll pretend to like y'all, while we use y'all as a way to get more for the rest of us. Okay? So that's really what we're dealing with, and there's a lot of work to be done. And all we can do, again, as black people, is continue to work on our community and stop getting pulled into these little fights where we start, because that's been like one of the most silliest parts of all of this, is you got black people who are really out here fighting for Trump. Like, that's crazy. Y'all cut that out. Like, I understand that you may be upset with liberals not doing more for black people. I get all of that. But quit talking like the conservatives are an option for us. They're not. They may allow some of y'all around now, but just watch how this thing go. It's going to be fewer and fewer black people hanging out with these MAGAs as these years go by. Because this ain't going away to tomorrow. We have a fight on our hands. We as a nation have a fight on our hands. And it remains to be seen whether or not the liberal whites will take this threat seriously, because that tends to be the issue. They're still on there, I don't believe it, this ain't our country, all this nonsense, instead of realizing you have to fight. These people do not listen to reason or words. You're going to have to fight them. It's the reality of the situation. We can turn the other cheek all we want to. But these type of cats that will punch both sides of your face. So just keep that in mind as we watch what is unfolding and what is continuing to unfold in our nation, and understand that there are reasons why I've always been willing to speak on racism in business. Because, again, how can we do business with people who don't even really like us to begin with? And the answer is you really can't. It's not a good business move. We have to do business with each other. We have to love each other more. We have to respect each other more. But it's hard to do that within this society with so much anti-blackness. Because, again, it even makes black people disrespect other black people. So please be aware of the influences around you, the environment that you're in. Please understand how these things matter, how they make a difference, right? And again, Thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I kept you a little longer than I wanted, but I always appreciate everybody who leaves a like, who leaves a comment, who subscribes, who shares a video. Let's talk about it if you want to. But like I said, two different parties. They're not the same. Quit getting hung up in the little arguments about that kind of stuff. But understand that there's a bigger picture. There are things that we have to do for self while we await for others to get right. Okay? While we hope that they get right. There's no guarantee they will. So we have to, again, we have to know ourselves. We have to, again, stop allowing outside to influence us and how we think. We have to, again, build up what was broken down. We have to have that understanding. All right, y'all. Thank you. See you at the top.